Welcome back, everyone. So today we're diving into a really unique explainer. Usually we're sinking our teeth into these massive, dense documents, right? But today, well, today's source material is an absolute masterclass in stark brevity. We're looking at a document with a really heavy-hitting title, the Zodiac Cipher Identification Analysis. Now, that sounds like it's going to be this rigorous, step-by-step breakdown of an infamous cryptographic puzzle. But what it actually gives us is, well, it's a startling emptiness. So let's just step right into the shoes of an analyst for a few minutes and look really closely at what is, and maybe more importantly, what isn't actually on the page here.
Just look at the sheer weight of the negative space around the text here. It's intense, isn't it? Our source document literally zeroes in on one single entity, and that is the Zodiac Killer. That's it. That is the elusive subject of this entire cipher identification analysis. There are no dates listed, no rundown of suspects, absolutely nothing else. The source material just completely strips away all of that surrounding noise. And when you're analyzing a document like this, the name itself kind of becomes the ultimate cipher, right? It dominates the page exactly the way this subject dominated the actual analysis. By isolating this definition, we can really grasp how this one solitary figure acts as the gravitational center for the entire analytical framework we're exploring today.
So that brings us to a really crucial question. How do we actually analyze the uncrackable? I mean, think about it. When a document that is literally designed for identification analysis yields so incredibly little text, it actually mirrors the very cryptographic challenge it's trying to study. We are confronted with silence. In our source material, the analysis doesn't give us, paragraphs of methodology or reams of decoded letters. It just gives us a void. And as focused learners, we have to recognize that sometimes the structure of the information, or honestly, the total lack of it, is exactly the lesson we need to absorb. So how do you approach a puzzle where the pieces themselves seem to have been intentionally left out of the analysis? Well, you've got to shift your mindset. You have to become a detective of the blank space, analyzing the framework itself rather than just searching for missing data.
Section 1. Cipher Identification Analysis. As we move to the actual text provided under this very formal heading in our source, get ready for pretty jarring contrast between the heavy promise of this title and what's actually there.
And this, right here, brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. Zodiac Killer. That's it. Literally, that is the exact excerpt provided under the analysis heading in our source material. There are absolutely no bullet points. There are no explanatory paragraphs. The entire analytical weight of the document just culminates in those two chillingly brief words. It really shows us that in these extreme analytical environments, the author just stripped the document down to the absolute core reality. This minimalism, it isn't a lack of effort. It's a profound statement about the subject's enduring anonymity and just how impenetrable these ciphers really are. It's literally just those two words, standing completely alone in the dark.
Now, even though the text itself is literally just those two words, we can still deconstruct the overarching title of the source document to understand its implied methodology. Let's break this down into 3 clear steps. Step 1. Zodiac source context. Look, before you can even begin to look at the code, you have to acknowledge the entity behind it, right? Which is exactly why that name stands all by itself in the text. Step 2. Cipher identification. This is all about isolating the specific puzzle, really separating the signal from all that noise. And finally, Step 3. Formal analysis. The rigorous, systematic attempt to actually break it all down. By laying these steps out visually, it really helps us conceptualize the immense amount of unseen work that goes into analyzing such sparse, cryptic evidence. The document's title promises this workflow, even if the actual result of that workflow remains, well, startlingly unresolved.
Which brings us to one final lingering thought. What remains hidden in the silence of these ciphers? I mean, our source material today was almost entirely made of silence. We had this grand, sweeping title for an analysis, followed by absolutely nothing more than the name of the author of the codes. It's just an incredibly powerful reminder that in the world of data, investigation, and analysis, an absence of information is still, in itself, a piece of information. The absolute brevity of our source text directly reflects the enduring, unsolved anonymity of the subject. It leaves us exactly where the analysts are left, just staring at a name and wondering what in the world is waiting just beneath the surface, completely unsaid. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredibly focused explainer today. Keep questioning the silence, everyone.